I apologize, but it's only just a minute or two. It's our Ticor Agent 1 app, and it's a cost calculator, but it's so much more, and I'll show you why. But mostly it has just a lot of infographics on there that you guys can use to build your business. Okay.
But that's okay. Can we get a optimize your video, your sound?
There we go. Oh, cool. Super. Thanks. So, if you haven't met me, my name is Dennis. I am the Ticor Title Sales Executive for the Lake Oswego area. I have with me Crystal Spicher, who will be talking to you guys today because you do not want me talking about this because it is way over my head. Things are always changing, and she's always up to date on it. But my job is to help you grow your business, and we do that through marketing together, through doing business plans together, farming areas out, and just anything you can do to help you, excel in your entrepreneurship. Social media is one of my favorite things that I do. Very huge into social media. I used to sell home warranties prior to this, and I got about 80 to 85% of my business strictly through social media on Instagram and Facebook. So I'm really big into social media. Right now, social media is still a big part of it, but I love being in person to talk to you guys. So this app that I'm going to share with you guys first here is our Ticor Agent 1 app. It's a cost calculator app that has built-in infographics that you guys can have for your business with your own logoing and all your contact information on everything. So let's take a look and then we'll talk a little bit deeper about it and then go into class.
2, 3, 4, get my shoes and out the door. 5, I'm alive. 6, 7, 8, feeling great. 9, gonna shine, life is good. I'm doing 5, 10, gonna do it right and do it again, yeah. I look into the sky with all the beautiful color, but there's more than just for me, so gonna share it with another. I got to show, to give, let out. I want to sing and shout. Take a look and see a beautiful morning that turns into a beautiful evening, and together make a beautiful life. And if you wanna see, then come along with me. That's right. Sing, oh, 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 oh. Come on, come on, come on and sing, yeah. Come on, come on, come on and sing. Oh, 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 oh. Come on, come on, come on and sing, yeah. Come on, come on, come on and sing. Oh, 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 oh. Come on, come on, come on and sing, yeah. Come on, come on, come on and sing. If you want a good tomorrow, it's pretty simple, got a plan like to follow. And if you do, you have a future real bright. And it's a combination of consistency. Come on and sing. Oh, 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 oh. Come on, come on, come on and sing, yeah. Come on, come on, come on and sing. Oh, 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 oh,
So you're probably looking at that going, what in the world is that thing that we just watched? So the cool thing about this is an app that we have built from our title company that goes right onto your phone. It's a cost calculator app, and if you have not asked for a net sheet yet, there'll come a day when you're gonna ask, I need a net sheet. And you're gonna call your title company up and say, hey, I need a net sheet, and we're happy to do that for you. But why not have it on your phone ready to go? We can do that for you so you can talk to your sellers when you're doing listing appointments. How much are you going to make off of this? That's what this app is about, but it's so much more as you saw in here. The little flyer I gave out to you is one of hundreds of infographics that the app has. It's all branded towards you. And this one here is called the Family Home Report. It's my favorite one that we have. And so the way you use this is, I would encourage you on your next open house, contact me, or better yet, download the app and get this. And you're gonna find the Family Home Report, and you're gonna put the address in, you put all the specifics about it. What's great is, anytime you pull specifics, we have Home Link that will pull taxes and pull all that information, so the numbers are always correct. But the Family Home Report's neat because it's gonna show you where everything's at: the schools, the gyms, the hospitals, the Starbucks. And then on the bottom, we have a third party that comes in, and they're gonna give a sound score for the area. They're gonna give a walk score for the area, and for the millennials, they're gonna give the internet speed. So I walk in, hi, how you doing? Good. You're talking to me, I'm doing open house, right? People don't want to really talk to real estate agents. because there's so many of us, it's like going to a car dealership sometimes, you just don't want to talk. They fill out the form, but why not offer them this and just say, hey, I'm gonna text you this so you can keep it for your records after you leave here. Most people are gonna say, yeah, sure, it's great. When they see it, they're gonna love it because it's gonna give you some information. They're gonna be able to remember that house more so. And then before they leave, you talk, you ask about the house, ask them questions. Just let them know, hey, I know you're most likely gonna go see some other open houses today or maybe for the week or as you're looking for a home. Text me the address, that's all I ask. Text me the address and I'll send you this report for free. So now you're building rapport with them after they leave. When they go to the next open house, they're not gonna say, oh yeah, I'm already working with Dennis. And then when you call to follow up with them, it's even better. Because they're giving you the addresses, you can start looking up, oh, they're looking for a single level home with 3 bedrooms, 2 baths. Oh, I noticed all of them are on big lots. So now you can start farming that area out for them, say, hey, I know it looks like you're looking for these kind of areas. These are some homes that are just coming to the market that I pulled for you. How can I help you? And then you start gaining business that way. So Ticor One app, you guys, it's ridiculously expensive to have. It's $10 for the whole year. I know it's a lot to ask for, but it does help keep things updated for you. It's a great app. If you want to talk about it more in person with me or on a Zoom call, I would love to get on with you, show you how it all works, the ins and outs of it, but it's a phenomenal app. The only other thing I'm talking about before I hand this off to Crystal is this as well. We actually just take one and pass it down. You guys have access to this through Keller Williams. You actually have access through me as well. I can send you the ebook that it came. This is called Altos. Have you guys heard of it? Altos Reports is a must-have. If you're doing listing presentations, it's a must-have. It's a great report that's going to show you market data of what's happening in every zip code. So I pulled this one here. This is Portland. It's up to date as of this week. It updates every Monday. And it's going to say, hey, here's the average median price of a house. Here's the most expensive, the least expensive. How many homes are for sale in the market? How many have been relisted? And then it breaks it down to even further market data segments. If you want to talk to me about this, this is something that we can go very deep in. When you're on the computer, it's a live graph informational, which will show the last 90 days. The paper, of course, doesn't do that, but it's all up to date. And it is a great way for you to talk to your clients, especially your listing presentation, of what's happening in their area. You ever go, or like where you live, especially too, you ever go to the grocery store, you might be standing in line and people hear that you're a realtor because, you know, when we're in sales, we're always talking about us. And you say, oh, they ask you, so what's going on in the market? They're not asking you what's going on in the market. What they're asking you is, what's my house worth? What can you do for me? So this ebook that I have through Altos, it's going to help you answer those questions with their report. What's my house worth? Is it a good time to sell? Is the market going to crash? All the key things that we need to know is in this report. It's kind of like our Bible that we can use to talk to people and have educated conversations with them. If you want to connect with me, I'll give my cards here too. Happy to connect on Zoom, happy to connect in person. If you need some one-on-one training, happy to do that for you, or whatever business needs you guys have. If you need help with social media, I'm an all-star at that. We'd love to help you with that. And other than that, I'm going to hand it over to Crystal. She's going to teach today's class. And if you have questions at any time about anything, even like something, a squirrel pops in your head, hey, I had this situation happen, ask Crystal. She likes to be stumped, but she hasn't yet. She hasn't yet. Crystal's been an escrow in the real estate business for over 20 years, and she's one of our top escrow officers in the Lake Oswego area.
I think I've seen some of you guys in our previous class. So I'm Crystal with the Ticor Title Lake Oswego office, just in case some of you are new. So today we were asked to go over settlement statements, which is all of the awesome numbers that you see. I gave you guys 3 printouts. Have all of you guys, or have you closed any transactions or seen a settlement statement, or is this all completely foreign? Okay.
The Alta, I've seen before. Where is it? This is the Alta title report.
That's the title report, and were you here for our title report class?
Oh, so it's different.
Yeah, we just taught, what, a month ago?
About a month ago.
How to read a title report. So you're probably talking about the prelim that comes out,
Okay.
which is the snapshot and the overview of the property. So,
Oh, sure.
oh, did I miss, can you,
This one here?
So do we have 3 each?
yes, you guys are gonna have 3 each. And the reason that I gave, or we're gonna go over all 3. Will you give her all 3 of those?
Okay.
Yeah, thanks. Is because we prepared 3 different statements, same figures for different parties. So you should have the master statement, which is the first one. So this is the transaction and all that applies as far as fees go, invoices, HOAs, taxes, everything that your transaction is going to have. Okay, so the master statement is going to be both the buyer side and the seller side. This is what the lender requires, is a master statement. And the reason being is because, you know, the biggest thing that we need to have when we first open the transaction, so the lender, your buyer's lender, can start their process, is the amount of the commission. It needs to be listed. Well, the sellers pay the commission. So without the master statement, they wouldn't be able to see who is paying the commission and what the dollar amounts are going to be. So the master statement is, again, for the seller and buyer. So both of them are listed on this one form, okay? So the first section at the top is gonna be the buyer and the seller. And then if it is a loan, we're going to have the lender there. The seller side, it's going to be divided up with debits and credits on both sides. So the seller, the credit is going to be the purchase price, debiting the buyer this purchase price, which is $500,000. Moving to the buyer side, this buyer deposited $20,000 already, right, for their earnest money deposit. Their loan is $250,000. And then we have their funds to close, because this is on a closed file. So this was the amount that they needed to bring in order to close out the transaction, was $237,000. That's what she brought in.
That's with closing costs there.
Yes, this is with closing costs, durations, any home warranty invoice, any invoices that need to be paid through closing. And the reason that I'm showing you both, because we don't know who you're gonna be working with. Are you working with a buyer? Are you gonna be working with a seller? Are you offering a home warranty when you are listing a property? So that way that you know what to expect and what to see on the statements, what's gonna be a red flag. So you representing a seller and you have offered to pay, or the seller has offered to pay a home warranty, and you don't see it on the statement, there's a red flag. Hey, escrow, did you miss this? Hey, did you get the invoice from American Home Shield? This is how much the home warranty should be. So we advise that agents really take time to review these statements, because escrow is human. We will miss things. Or how about those addendums that we've missed, or agents forgot to send it to us, right? Adding a repair or a roof repair, that the invoice needs to be paid through closing. That's why it's so important that we get every addendum that's out there. We don't do your guys' negotiations. We don't know what you and the other agents are talking about and what you come to an agreement with, right? So being escrow, we go by written instructions. We don't have that. You're not gonna see it on the statement.
Does it get come out like as far as so with like credits and stuff like that? So and this would follow. This would be.
When we get closer to closing, this is almost like a final checklist, right, of all of the fees. So we go through the escrow process. You open, you have an accepted offer, right? So we go ahead and open title and escrow. We get the title report, we review it. We clear title, which was our last class that we had, which is ordering payoffs, ordering the HOAs, pulling the most recent tax statements, all that good stuff. And so now that all parties and we're ready to close, and that the lender is ready to close, we're like, hey, okay, so here's all that we have in our file. Here's all the addendums, here's the close date. Okay, so now we're gonna prepare our statement, which is this, right? Based on all of the things that we have, the payoffs, the HOAs, the taxes. So then that way the lender also will have their forms and their fees that we'll need to attach to this statement. So right before signing, I send this to the seller, the listing agent on one email, and I say, hey, attached is your, for your review. Please let me know if you have any questions or if anything needs to be added or changed. Same with the buyer and the buyer's agent. Attached is the closing statement. Here's the amount that we need you to bring in to closing. This is your bottom line. So this is more towards the end of the transaction. And this, I'm helping you guys go through it. So that way, if you do have a home warranty, or if you do have a roof repair, or, you know, a cleaning invoice that needs to be paid, and you don't see it on this statement, it's a red flag. Like, hey, where was this missed? Or, hey, we need to get this to escrow to make sure that my sellers are paying for it, right? Or the buyers are paying for it. So HOA prorations. We prorate the day of close until the next billing cycle with the HOAs, okay? So it looks like this HOA in particular is $312 semi-annually. So it looks like twice a year, okay? So then we do the prorations, making sure that the seller is paid current and doesn't have a balance due. And then also the county taxes. County taxes are a little wonky right now. We are giving, well, this transaction closed in July, but right now, as of August, we had to flip because we had to charge the, give the seller a credit for the prorations because they've already paid the taxes back in November 2020, all the way to 2021. Now it's going to be the buyer's responsibility in November to make sure that those taxes are being paid, whether it's the buyer paying them or whether they opened up a reserve account with their new lender for taxes and insurance. So we do prorate county taxes. That's another one that we have to make sure that is calculated correctly. I know right now we're doing a lot of occupy after closing. A lot of times the possession date and the proration dates are different. And the reason they're different is because your buyer isn't moving in for 30 days, but they don't want to start paying interest and they don't want to be prorated on something that they're closing today, but they're not moving in for 30 days. So your guys' purchase and sale agreement has that portion that says possession date, which is the 30 days, let's say after closing, and then proration date. And if it states close of escrow, that would be today if we were closing. But if you put possession date, that would be the day they're taking actual possession. Does that make sense? Have you guys seen that little verbiage on the contract? So that's where those proration dates come into play, okay? And then the amount of the commission, this is huge. This is what you as agents really need to make sure is accurate. I can't tell you enough. This is your paycheck. This is your paycheck. The biggest thing that I can recommend is, even though you guys are dealing with negotiations right up front and you're working with the sales price and repairs and all that good stuff, seller credits, what have you, just send your broker demands. And the reason that we have to have your broker demand up front is because it generates the disclosure for the buyer. We can't tell you enough how many times I have to ask for broker demands. I'm asking you for your broker demand to pay you because you guys are out there working so hard. I want to pay you. I want to make sure your checks are getting to the right place at the right time. So please, please, please send your broker demands. It is so important. And to make sure when you're looking and reviewing the statement with your client, make sure your commissions are right. We are human. We do make typos. Make sure that whatever concessions or if you as an agent have offered to pay for the home warranty, make sure that's listed on there. Whatever you guys have agreed upon and what matches your broker demands. A lot of times buyers agents and listing agents broker demands do not match. We have to kick them back to both agents and say, hey, can you figure this out? Because what we want to do is only have to prepare the statement once so we can give it to your seller who agreed to pay this commission, right? And it needs to be accurate. We only want to make sure that we're shining for you guys and that you guys have provided us all of the information. When we don't have those addendums, we're at the closing table and they're like, oh, our buyer was supposed to have a seller credit. I'm like, oh, okay, let me double check my email. So the agent who was at the closing table said, I didn't send it to you. So I went to my computer and she had forwarded it to me. Client sitting there has no clue. It was my error. Went and fixed it and brought it back with the addendum. And I was like, oh, here we go. You know, it was in my email. And after the closing, the agent came around the corner and said, hey, I didn't send that to you. And I'm really sorry. Thank you for making me shine. You know, thank you for taking fault at that. It's like, of course, you know, I'm here to work with you to have you guys earn that next referral at the closing table. So important, commission demands, any addendums, we need them. And then this section where it says new loan charges, this is for a loan. This is all the buyer's fees that the buyer has to pay to their new lender. So those will be on the buyer's debit side, okay? You as agents are probably not gonna know all of the lender fees and what your buyer's lender is charging. It's just for you to glance at. And then title and escrow fees. Escrow fees are charged equally both to buyer and seller for the escrow fee. The government service charge is a charge to the seller, and this is for a city lien search, making sure that the property doesn't have any city liens. And then we're going to go on to that second page. The lender's title insurance, this is the lender's policy that the buyer pays. Okay, so the owner is, or excuse me, the seller is going to pay the owner's policy. The buyers are in charge of paying their lender's policy. So it's a policy that their lender requires in order to close their loan. And then any type of endorsements that fall along with the lender's policy. And then we have the reconveyance or release fee. That is for the seller to pay because we are going to pay off their existing lien. And then we have to track and record all of the documents to release it with the county. The owner's policy is paid by the seller. This, 1013 is a debit to the seller. So the seller is being charged this owner's policy to ensure the new buyer that they are free and clear title. There's free and clear title. And that the only lien will be, obviously, it's going to be their new loan. And then we have the recording charges. So our flat recording estimate is $360 on every purchase that the buyer pays. We can only charge them what the county charges us to record their documents. So we will not know until the day of recording. So we do adjust those. As you can see, this is the final one. So we have adjusted that there. And then over here, down towards where it says payoffs, this is going to be for the seller. This is what we're paying off that is attached to the property. So when we have cleared title, we have these payoffs. So we have, this seller had one payoff, and then we also have the HOA charges right underneath. So the HOA company charges transfer fees, their management company charges a processing fee. All of those are broken out based on the HOA demand that we receive from the HOA company. The association dues, and then this one also had a home warranty, it looks like, from the seller was paying the home warranty of the 624. Meaning the net for the seller is 168,866.23. It's in the very bottom in bold. And then the amount back due to the buyer was 32,1062, and that's only because she wired a week in advance and she overwired in the event that any fees changed and she wanted a refund. She didn't want to wait to wire, which is fine, but you also have to keep in mind we might need more money. So you need to stop everything you're doing, buyer, and wire me more funds, or we have to just refund you. So it could go either way. Do you guys have any questions?
Sorry, escrow fees are recording fees. I don't see escrow.
Escrow fee is gonna be on the very first page where it says title and escrow charges. And it's split 50-50 between both buyer and seller. And so the reason that I wanted to provide you guys the master statement so we could go over it in class, but I also wanted to provide you what a seller statement looks like. So it's the same thing, just on its own form, with the same bottom line due to the seller on the seller statement. And then depending on who you're working with, whether it be a buyer or seller, these are the statements that you're going to review. So again, a buyer statement, you're not going to see commission demands or commission amounts. You're not going to see those, right? Because the buyer isn't paying those.
Right.
On a seller, you're going to see these commissions. So make sure that you as the listing agent working with the seller that, oh, yep, that's 2.5%. Yep, that one is 2%. I think we're good.
Do the clients ever receive this version of it or just the buyer seller?
No, they will never see each other's statements. We
This
keep
gets
that.
sent to the lender
That gets sent to the lender, correct?
and to
So
us, or we'll only get the.
you will only get
buyer.
who you're representing. Yes, there's no reason for you to review a buyer statement or see a buyer statement if you're working with a seller or vice versa. We have had that question and we cannot provide that because of privacy purposes.
The other also reviewing it and catching it.
Correct.
And that
Yeah, and
happens.
well, here's a huge one. So this buyer and this buyer's agent got this buyer statement to review, right? My buyer has a home warranty. We're paying it. Well, I don't see it on the statement. That's because the seller's paying it per the contract. Contract said seller is paying the home warranty. The seller pays for it. Well, I need proof. And so how we show proof is we send them a copy of the check made out to the home warranty after closing. We also provide the home warranty invoice, anything that we pay or prorate through closing, except for the seller's payoff. We're not gonna have a buyer review that. But anything that we pay for the buyer, on behalf of the buyer, like the home warranty, the county taxes, any HOAs, we make sure that they read and approve it. So they have it in their packet. So in the event, a warranty, for instance, they're like, oh shoot, my refrigerator stopped working. They can pull that out and they can call the number right there on the demand. And it also shows proof that we've received it. We've also are paying it.
There's credits based on like repairs that come up in inspection, they would go under the proration adjust, they show up under proration adjustments.
Well, yes, and they will come up as an offset. So if you're giving a credit as a seller, you're gonna see a debit on a seller side, right? And then if you're representing the buyer, you would see the credit on the buyer side.
When you were saying when that person was in your office that had no email, if you're the buyer's agent, you're the one recreating them, you're responsible for making sure that the credits and debits are in there, or the credits for.
I
repairs are in the
believe
right spot, or
it's
is it
all
something?
agents' responsibility to make sure all addendums are over into escrow. And so if there is a credit, depending on who you're working with, that credit is going to be listed on both statements, depending on who you're working with. If you're working with a seller, it's gonna be a debit, right? You're gonna look for a debit because you've offered that seller credit of $2,000.
But the client pays that is staying longer, occupying after.
Mhm.
that.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
Yep, security deposits is an offset as well. So if you guys are doing occupy after closing, there's that box on that second page that says the security deposit amount. If you guys are going to negotiate a security deposit, that is also going to be on the statement as a security deposit, crediting the buyer, right? And then debiting the seller because the seller's the one paying the security deposit.
These are all separate charges for title and escrow. Is there ever a time when someone could opt out of any of these? They're charged individually.
I didn't hear you.
So it's title and escrow charges, they're all listed individually as a debit. Are any of those optional
On which side?
on the seller's statement?
No, none of the title and escrow fees are optional.
No, state regulated.
They're all state regulated. Every year, every title company goes and files their rates. They file their rates with the county, or with the state. And, the escrow, fee is based on the sales price. And then the lender's policy is based on the loan amount for the new buyer. And then the owner's policy is based on the sales price of how much we're insuring for that property.
This is compliance video on your website, it's really helpful explaining that.
Mm-hmm.
Curious.
Yeah, thank you.
I just watched that.
You
Good.
did, oh, good.
But it helps explain the why behind what you're doing also.
Yeah, title insurance is huge and a lot of people are like, well, why do we need an owner's policy? I don't know, do you want the seller's judgment on your property? Do you want to pay for those? Like, I mean, I always tell everybody to look at it as you being that person, right? You being that new buyer, okay? I don't want the old seller's stuff on my property. I don't want to be responsible for that. You guys have any more questions?
Sorry if you already said this.
No, you're
At what point or how soon before closing could we see this or see this?
It depends. A lot of times working with lenders, we're not getting loan documents to like balance out, making sure and triple checking numbers until a couple of days prior to closing, sometimes day of closing. It just
First thing
depends.
did one for me that was the
Yeah.
hour up.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
Stop everything you're doing.
Yeah. It was good actually to hear you talk about the overwiring too, because that's what happened.
Mhm.
Transaction we worked on together.
Yeah.
Like,
To get a
client
refund.
did it without telling me too, and I was like, wait, you said how much more?
Yeah.
I was like, is that normal?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
it's like,
It just
Crystal
depends,
said it was.
and sometimes, yeah, and sometimes, depending on where your money is, right? Sometimes it takes 3 to 4 days. We just had a transaction, with, well, right now with the market being the way it is, that the, buyers aren't getting accepted offers right now. And so she had like $5,000 in her checking account, and then she, wrote an offer, didn't think it was gonna get accepted, so late Friday did she go ahead and do a transfer. It's an app called Acorn. I've never heard of it. So she's
Oh, the
like,
investment app.
yeah, so she's like, oh, I'll just go ahead and do my transfer to my checking account, just in case, right? Oh, guess what? Earnest money is due on Wednesday. Your offer got accepted. So her agent's like, hey, guess what? Great news, Sunday. Your offer's accepted. She's like, no way. And she's like super excited. She's like, I don't have money for earnest money. It's not in my account yet. That third day, did she come in with a check right at 5 o'clock and said, I have money, So, it's just make sure your buyers, when they're writing these offers, make sure that they have money. Make sure that they're not sitting on the edge, hoping, that their funds are gonna get transferred. Just prepare them. Yeah. Anything else that I can help with? Any questions?
Can you go over closing disclosure timeline at all?
Well, the closing disclosure, it's tricky because it's generated by the lender. The timeline for a seller CD is not regulated, but the buyer's is, because it's regulated by the lender. So the rule of thumb is we close, in 3 days. The lender's gonna send an estimated closing disclosure statement to their buyer, and they're gonna say, hey, Bob, go ahead and read this. Make sure that all of the fees look good, your payments look good, you're setting up a reserve account for taxes and insurance. And then, once they sign it, there's 3 days that they have to wait in order to sign. So working with buyers, make sure that they're working closely with their lender to make sure that initial closing disclosure has been sent at least 4 to 5 days prior to your guys' close date. Because that is what that 3-day cool-off period is, right? So they can't even sign until that 3rd day. Yeah. All right, guys.
So when you see an earnest money check, does it have to be made out from the seller or the buyers, or do they check like where it's coming from? Like on
Who's
an
that?
earnest money, for an earnest money check, like say that person comes and got the earnest money thing out of her Acorn account, she borrowed.
She could
$10,000
borrow it, but
clients.
then there's a paper trail, because not only do we have to send third-party deposit instructions, but also their lender is gonna ask for source, like, where'd you get this money?
If the friend makes it out directly to the title company, they can't do that or something.
No, because any
Yeah, but
money
it's
that's incoming from the buyer, the lender has to see the receipts. So they have to source those funds, unless it's a gift, and then you can do gift funds, but they still have to sign and have a paper trail. Mhm. Yeah. So, all fun
Thank you,
stuff,
guys.
lots to learn.
Thank you so
Thanks,
much.
guys. If you guys need anything at all, our cards are here. Call me with any questions, I'm happy to help, and I'm happy to go over a one-on-one escrow 101 with you guys, like, what is the process, what's the steps?
I would joke, I was at war.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you guys have questions in general at any point, even if you're not closing with us, oh my gosh. You're more than welcome to contact us, we'll be happy to help you out though. Happy to answer any questions for you at any point.